and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought provoking conversations. US President Donald Trump on Tuesday once again claimed credit for diffusing tensions between India and Pakistan, asserting that United States played a key role in brokering a military truce between the two neighbors. He made the remarks while speaking at the US Saudi Investment Forum in Riyadh. Now, what exactly did he say? He said that my greatest hope is to be a peacemaker and to be a unifier. I do not like war. Just days ago, my administration successfully brokered a historic ceasefire to stop the escalating violence between India and Pakistan. Then he says, I used trade to a large extent. I said, let's make a deal. Let's do some trading. Let's not trade nuclear missiles. Let's trade the things you make so beautifully. And this is what he said. But if you look at the reaction coming in from the External Affairs Ministry spokesperson, Randhir Jaiswal, he said that from the time Operation Sindoor commenced on 7th May till the understanding on cessation of firing and military action on 10th May, there were conversations between Indian and US leaders on the evolving military situation. The issue of trade did not come up in any of these conversations. So you've heard what the External Affairs Ministry has said and what Trump has been asserting repeatedly. And just a short while back, Jairam Ramesh has tweeted that it seems that Donald Trump is coercing India into some kind of a ceasefire. What he meant was that is Donald Trump blackmailing Prime Minister Modi? So we'll try and discuss all this and much more. With me this evening, Sanjay Jha, former spokesperson of the Congress, columnist and author, who joins us on Truth Be Told this evening. Thank you so much, Sanjay, for joining. And it's always a pleasure having you on the program. And what would you really say to Trump's repeated assertions? I think this is the third time he's claiming credit in the past 6 or 7 days that he was the one who brokered peace between India and Pakistan. And trade, of course, is the major central focal point. This is what he's been asserting. Why do you think Donald Trump is saying this repeatedly?
Neelu, first and foremost, let's accept the truth. Donald Trump tweeted that India and Pakistan were going to do a ceasefire. And formal announcements followed both from India and Pakistan thereafter. So it's very clear that America brokered this truce between both India and Pakistan. And I think that to me should be a matter of great concern. I cannot imagine how India acceded to a ceasefire with Pakistan. That's a separate aspect, but to its announcement being made by the US president. I mean, this violates actually the Simla Agreement of 1972, where we talked about no third party intervention. And Neelu, let me tell you, it's not that third party channels were not being used in the past. I'm going to tell you that they were pretty much operational even in the earlier conflicts with Pakistan. But they were essentially back channels. Here you find that Donald Trump has been in the forefront of the India-Pakistan negotiations for the ceasefire. And I think today what he said in Saudi Arabia is further emboldening that story, where he says, and he is like any other deal-making transactional US president who's looking at trade as an instrument for furthering America's interests. So, as he said, even if you look at it earlier, that he felt that possibly both these neighbors were headed for something more dangerous. I think the insinuation was, could it have possibly reached? I don't think it's probably would have happened, but according to his guesstimation, it could have been even nuclear. But the truth is that he is taking the full credit for it. And India's reactions, Neelu, have been very, very belated and not convincing at all. The truth is that the third time when Donald Trump has talked about that he told both Pakistan and India, let's do trade. And it sounds so kind of commercial and driven by an objective of nothing but exchanges of goods and services. It makes a mockery of our bigger challenge in India, which is the cross-border terrorism from Pakistan, which appears to be so diluted in this environment where Trump seems to be treating it with almost great casual indifference. And I think that is something that we should all worry about. I really feel that India's diplomatic endeavors have come woefully short here.
But why do you think that Prime Minister Modi is quiet? If the MEA spokesperson has very clearly said that there were no talks on trade. Yesterday, Prime Minister Modi had gone to the airbase where everyone was expecting that he might say something, but he has not opened his mouth at all on what Donald Trump has been claiming. Now, what do you think is forcing Modi to keep quiet at this point of time, and especially on a sensitive issue like this, where it's hitting his own image, domestically and
Well,
internationally?
it's not about his image. I'm worried about India's reputation to stand up for its own national sovereignty. I thought when Mr. Modi spoke to the nation, he should have taken advantage of that platform to outright repudiate what Donald Trump had said. Because
Yes.
let's face the truth, Nilu, we are not, you and I are thankfully not talking in one of these corporate big media channels, which we all know are virtual cheerleaders for this government. The truth is that Donald Trump has been seen worldwide as the man who brokered truce between India and Pakistan. And that perception is not going away anywhere, no matter how hard the Indian TV channels are trying at the moment to change the narrative. The one who could have altered this conversation should have been Prime Minister Modi himself, is to say that I hereby outright reject what has been said in the international media and the tweet by my counterpart, US President, because this is not the time for being, politically nice. If you believe that Donald Trump is appropriating credit, then you have to be able to stand up for what I believe is why people have voted you in power. And I definitely am extremely disappointed because there are two reasons behind that. If you read Donald Trump's tweet, Nilu, it says that at a neutral site and a future date, there will be conversations on a broad range of issues. What exactly was Donald Trump tweeting about? Clearly, the US president, no matter how often he flies off the handle and how atrocious and absurd some of his confabulations have been on foreign policy, we cannot afford to be treating it with any degree of nonchalance. And I think that's a serious statement. I'm worried because he seems to have indicated that he has an interest in mediating in Kashmir. I mean, these are, I would say, going to be played to an advantage by Pakistan. If you frankly look at what's been happening around the world, Nilu, you will find that Pakistan has unleashed a very strong information war, which seems to be, in all honesty, moving in their favor. I have found in various international media platforms the Pakistan foreign minister, you have found the defense minister, they're all
Yes.
kind of in regular conversations with different people. And for some reason or the other, I don't know what the reasons are, the government of India seems to be very conservative at this point. To me, it appears to be not extremely rational at all. The only thing that we have done is to have trolled our own foreign secretary, who had nothing to do with the announcement of the ceasefire. So I just
Told
cannot
our foreign
fathom what's
secretaries and
going on.
told our own journalists who've been raising some very serious questions. They've told their own journalists, they've told their own foreign secretary. But what does it go to show, Sanjay? Because does it show that few things are being hidden as far as Operation Sindoor is concerned? There are lots of question marks as to how it was conducted. Then Prime Minister in his address to the nation spoke about a nuclear blackmail. Then next day you have Donald Trump speaking in that coercive manner that, I am the one who brokered peace. So it doesn't, what kind of a blackmail is it? And does this blackmail, quote unquote, this particular word blackmail, does it go to show that there is something which the government probably is hiding on Operation Sindoor?
Well, we will probably at some point get to know exactly what has been going on. But I think the lack of transparency, the opacity is a little bewildering. I do understand. And in all honesty, all governments will keep certain national security dynamics, confidential information regarding your own strategic assets. Absolutely private, and there is no debate on that point. But there is a lot of speculation about what really has happened over the 3 days. There are one or two fundamental takeaways, Nilu. I heard the Prime Minister talk about that we damaged the terror infrastructure of Pakistan. Now, let me tell you why these claims have a lot of braggadocio about it. Uh, Pakistan has terror camps spread all over Pakistan and what we call as Pakistan occupied Kashmir. It's not just in near Lahore, or not just in certain parts closer to Muzaffarabad, etc. So if you look at the entire network of Lashkar-e-Toiba or Jaish-e-Mohammed, or even the Haqqani network, they are interspersed all over different parts of Pakistan, and not all of it is going to be visible for an aerial attack. So while we probably have sent a message that yes, India is capable of trying to neutralize some of your very dangerous export ammunition factories where you send, jihadi terrorists across the border to India. The truth is that in 3 days you could not have destroyed the terror infrastructure. Number one. Number two, in most military operations that happen, you really target a military uh, airbase or a military facility within the other country. So we technically were not in a war. This is more like a conflict or a military offensive because we targeted certain portions. Some air bases were done, but I think in a great number of ways, were 3 days enough? And did we buckle under US pressure on the ceasefire? Because the truth be said, that we lost 26 innocent lives in Pahalgam, right? And I think when we made our military offensive under Operation Sindoor, did it really play out the way we expected it to? And was the counter offensive that we got from Pakistan, which is largely, and I need to mention this, uh, uh, I think Pakistan is basically Chinese weapons, Chinese missiles, Chinese aircrafts, and they really have come into play. So one pretty serious takeaway from this conflict with Pakistan, Nilu, is that China is now a very instrumental third party, even if it is not called officially as a two front war. So if China is providing training, military aircrafts, if it's providing missiles and various other equipment to Pakistan, then we need to now be extremely cognizant of the fact that you are fighting, even if it's just a war with Pakistan, you are effectively having the shadow of China all over. And during this war, Nilu, I think if you follow the
No, but does it
diplomatic.
look like, Sanjay, in any way that probably the Indian government mustn't have thought that China is really going to work as a shadow strength behind Pakistan? Nobody thought so. And it almost looks like as if China was almost testing all its military equipments through Pakistan in this particular offensive, which was mounted in 2025 because of the Pahalgam attack. So doesn't it look like that?
But Nilu, let me tell you, I'll be absolutely astonished if this is the assessment of India's political leadership, or frankly speaking, I think India's defense officers at the highest levels are brilliant people. That would be myopic because China is hugely invested in Pakistan. And think about it, right? Even in branding international terrorists as terrorists, China has stood with Pakistan. So it's a pretty open, explicit fact that cannot be denied. So at the moment, I would say it will be extremely fallacious for anyone to assume that Pakistan's confidence comes from the fact that it is probably using very sophisticated ammunition of all types, or arsenal, if you want to call it, against India. And if anybody probably underestimated that, I think clearly they did that at the peril of India's own security.